So again, class, good morning. Today I'm going to discuss the digestive system, which mainly focuses on our gut system or yung nasa may thoracic area. When we say thoracic, gitnang area yon sa may thorax. So the digestive system is divided into two. Meron tayong tinatawag na gastrointestinal tract, also known as the GI tract. With the term itself, no? Tract means pathway. So, mag-i-start yan dito sa oral cavity, which is the mouth. And then, it will go through this pharynx dito, and then esophagus. Mapapansin nyo dito na may area dyan na dalawang tube. Yung isa kasi ay for the lungs. So, pag lumulunok ang tao ng pagkain, of course, magko-close ito at dediretso yung food dito sa esophagus. And then we have the stomach. Diyan mo na temporarily ini-store yung food. And then with the use of different enzymes na nilalabas nitong pancreas, nitong liver, unti-unti madadigest yung kinain. So around 2 to 3 hours, depende sa kinakain pala, no, kung anong uri ng type of food. It's either carbohydrates yun, proteins or lipids, mga fatty foods. So, depende. Pero, based sa mga doctors, mostly 2 to 3 hours lamang po na digest yan. So, kunwari, pag matutulog ka na sa gabi, no, light meal lang kasi dapat pag gabi ka kumakain. Sa gabi kumakain. Around 2 to 3 hours bago ka pwedeng matulog. So, hindi siya yung binabangungot ang after effect, pero yung kinain mo lang is hindi matutunaw ng ayos. Parang magkakaroon lang ng backflow dito. And of course, tataas din yung acid reflux. We have the small intestine, itong color yellow. So, may tatlong area dyan, yung jejunum, duodenum, no? At saka ileum. So, madidiscuss yan mamaya. And then we have the large intestine. Itong color green. Yan. And then we have the rectum and the anus. So, dito class, sa bituka natin, marami diyang bacteria, mga Escherichia coli, mga lactobacillus. So, pag ang pagkain mo ay puro rich in leafy vegetables or nutritious foods, mayaman yan sa good bacteria. And of course, meron siyang good side effects sa brain. Pag naman unhealthy food, of course, puro kakaunti lang yung probiotics o yung mga lactobacillus, ganon. Since birth, pag nakainom na ng babies ng gatas mula sa nanay, meron na talaga silang maa-acquire na probiotics. So sa babies, usually ang tinatawag na probiotics sa kanila ay bifidobacteria, pero pagdating sa mga adults, usually ay mga lactobacillus, yung mga iniinom na kagaya ng Yakult. Pwedeng kumain sila ng kimchi kasi marami yung lactobacillus, no? And then, of course, kapag maganda yung kinain mo, mabilis siyang ma-absorb at yun, may magandang side effect dun sa health. Yung functions of GI tract, first, mechanical processing. Yan yung mouth, no? And then we have the digestion, which is the stomach na yung proper niyan, with several enzymes and hormones na nire-release. And then, ito ay sa mga intestines. Absorption of food. Pag natunaw na yung food from the stomach, mostly ang ina-absorb na lang ay more on liquid parts. And then we have the secretion of water, acids, enzymes, buffer, and salt. And then of course, after digestion of food, we have the excretion of waste products. So since ang anus is parang opening para ma-release yung mga wastes, of course, kailangan maiwasan yon, especially the girls, na ma-transfer yung bacteria from the anus dun sa ibang dun sa may reproductive area nung babae. Kasi pwede siyang mag-cause ng UTI. And then we have the accessory organs. Yan yung teeth for the digestion temporarily. So, ang madalas na or mabilis na matunaw dyan, usually ay mga carbohydrates. Since dito sa bibig ay merong iba't ibang salivary glands. We have the parotid, we have the sublingual salivary gland, and this submandibular salivary gland. And of course, these salivary glands, nakadepende yan sa tawag dito, sa dami ng iniinom mong tubig. Kapag naman kasi kakaunti yung iniinom mong tubig, of course, ang effect nun, mabilis kang mauhaw, and then kakaunti yung production of saliva. And it is very important para yung mga kinain mo ay tuloy-tuloy yung movement papuntang stomach. And then we have the liver. Sinasabi na ang liver ang factory ng katawan ng tao since it recycled vitamins and hormones. And of course, sinisynthesize niya din yung mga yon, especially the vitamins, no? And then, of course, it break down all bacteria, and then, ano pa, mga old red blood cells. So, pag ganon, pag na-breakdown na, of course, it will just turn out into bilirubin. Yung parang colorant mo sa ihi. Of course, din sa picture, makikita ninyo na may dalawang dyan, pathway. So, eto, from the liver, pwede siyang mag-release ng bile enzymes at dito i-store sa gallbladder. So, ma-release lang yan by contraction kapag na-sense na ng katawan or ng liver na may nakain yung individual na fatty food. And then of course, yung mga inaandito, yung mga hormones, vitamins, bacteria, and red blood cells ay pupunta sa liver, no? Dito sa portal vein or hepatic portal vein. So, alin man dun sa dalawa is just the same. And then class, pag itong liver ay na-damage because of unhealthy lifestyle, pero yung damage na yun ay, for example, maliit lang naman, about 1/4 or 1/5 lang yung damage. So, isi-surgery yan, no? Tatanggalin yung part na nasira. And then, of course, itong liver, may kakayahan yan na mag-regenerate and form into its original form. Pero, pag ang liver po ay nasira for about 2/3 yung nasira, hindi na po yan na pwedeng i-transplant, i-surgery, at mag-regenerate. So, ang mangyayari, magpapanibagong atay ka na ulit, donor. And then we have this, dito pala sa accessory organs, no, nalimutan tong tongue. So, this tongue have different receptors. So, yan yung madalas na tinuturo, kinder pa lang, no? So, pag sa anatomy, ang itsura niyan ay para siyang may bulb. So, andito yung taste receptor natin, and then marami ng nerves yan dito sa may baba. So, ganun yung anatomy niya. So, we have the bitter, sour, salty, and sweet. And then dito sa may area na to, yung parang newly discovered lang na taste ay yung tinatawag na umami. Parang delicious, yun, delicious taste, no? And then we have the pancreas. So, ang pinakakilalang purpose itong pancreas is just to produce insulin. So, yung insulin po, yun ang nagre-regulate sa blood sugar ng katawan ng tao. Kapag ang insulin po ay hindi na ganoon na enough to regulate the blood sugar, kailangan na ng tao mag-intake or mag-inject ng insulin. Pero yung insulin na yun ay dapat na prescribe ng doctors. And then of course, history lang, additional information. Ang unang experiment for the insulin injection came from the pig's pancreas. So, nag-try sila, kumuha sila ng insulin hormone sa pig tapos in-inject sa tao, pero unsuccessful na. So, ang ginawa ng modern scientists ngayon, chinek yung gene for the insulin production, tapos inilagay po sa bacteria. So, pag yung bacteria ay may enough food, magre-release siya ng hormones. And then, with the use of several processes sa industrial microbiology, no, saka magre-release or mapupurify yung insulin na yan at pwede nang i-market. Ganun po yun. So, dito naman, under tissue level, ganito ang itsura ng pancreas. Meron siyang tinatawag na islet. So, yung mga islet na yan, naglalabas ng fluid and then nilalagay dito sa may pancreatic duct. And then, kung makikita nyo dito, na merong daluyan palabas na naandito sa may bandang bituka. So, ang function ng accessory glands, first is to digest and absorb food, and then excrete the waste products with the help of the liver. Next is gallbladder, and then we have the pancreas, we have the small intestine, the large intestine, and the rectum. Yung function naman ng mouth, aside from chewing, and then of course yung tongue, na for sensory analysis, ang next na function is for lubrication, to mix food material with mucus and salivary gland secretion. So, limited lang ang digestion nito since carbohydrates lang ang focus and the lipids. Pag proteins, dun na yan sa tiyan mismo. We have the oral mucosa. Ito yung naglalabas lang ng mucus, no? So, it just composed of keratinized and non-keratinized squamous epithelial cells. Pag keratinized, ang layer, it means na yung part na yon ay may prevention against water loss. We have the tongue. So, for mechanical processing by compression, abrasion, and distortion. Next is for manipulation to assist in chewing, and then prepare material for swallowing. Of course, yung tongue may sensory analysis. So, aside dun sa taste receptors, kasama na din dyan yung touch. Check mo kung anong texture, is either smooth ba yung kinakain mo or medyo hard. And then we have the temperature, cold or hot lang naman dyan. And then, these are secretions of mucins and lingual lipase. So, mayroon dyan secretion ng enzymes to aid the breakdown of lipids dito sa lipase. And mucins naman, nagre-release yan ng mucus. So, we have 3 pairs of salivary glands. The first one ay itong parotid. So, may pinakamalaking gland dito sa bibig, nasa may bandang ngala-ngala. And we have the sublingual, nasa ilalim ng dila. And of course, the submandibular, malapit dun sa mandible or jawline or jawbone ng tao. So, it is located inferior to the zygomatic arc and posterolateral to the mandible. Meaning to say, malapit yan sa may banga, ay ngala-ngala, bungo. 'Di ba wait lang, may ngala-ngala pa ganyan diyan, 'di ba? And of course, ito yung sabihin natin na ah, yung bungo, and then naandito sa may posterolateral, nasa may bandang ilalim lang na area. So, ang purpose niyan is just to produce serous secretions with so many salivary amylase. So, this is an enzyme that will break down carbohydrate. Pero hindi po 100% na madadigest pa lang sa bibig. And then we have the sublingual. It just produces mucus secretion that serves as both a buffer and then the lubricant. For the submandibular, so it secretes mixtures of buffers, glycoproteins like the mucins. So pag ganyan, yun nga mucus, no? And then with this salivary amylase, yan ay enzyme. So yung saliva, pag normal na umiinom yung tao ng 8 glass per day. So, meron kang 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva each day. And then, ang composition niyan, 99.4% lang naman ng water, and then 0.6% yung electrolytes, buffers, the mucins, antibodies, enzymes, at saka waste products. Ang functions ng saliva just to lubricate the mouth, para ma-prevent yung friction, or kasi pag may friction kasi nangyayari, it's either mag-cause siya ng too much heat, and then pwedeng masira yung layer. So, between the mucosa of the oral cavity and the food material. So, next, just to moisten the food material, and then initiation of lipid and carbohydrate complex digestion. We have the teeth, needed yan for mechanical breakdown of food materials, and of course for the saturation of the salivary secretions and enzymes within the food material for better digestion. Doon naman sa pharynx, doon niya sa may bandang palikunan, no? So passageway of food material. So pag lumulunok na yung respiratory mo, yung trachea, kailangan na magsarado nun. And then, dediretso muna ito ng food, dediretso yung food material. So, wala namang nagsasabay yung paghinga at saka yung paglunok. Tama ba? So, during swallowing, ito nga, may closure of nasopharynx and larynx occurs to maintain the proper direction of food. And then, this is the esophagus. So, ang esophagus contains of two types of muscle part or muscle tissue. So, dun sa unang layer, skeletal muscle muna, since meron diyang voluntary movement. Lulunok ka. And then, of course, dito sa middle, skeletal muscle, and then the smooth muscle. So, dito na mag-exist yung tinatawag na peristalsis or yung involuntary movement para mapababa pa yung bolus o yung kinain mo. And then sa lower 1/3 ay puro smooth muscles na dyan. So meaning to say na pure na involuntary movement. So yung peristalsis, yung nabanggit ko kanina, so waves of contraction yan of its longitudinal and circular muscle. So pababa ang movement. We have the deglutition. So yung deglutition, only voluntary feast where one can still control the swallowing process. So we have the skeletal muscle. Ito yung kanina. For the dun sa may pharynx at saka upper esophagus, skeletal muscles lang. And then dun sa may bandang gitna na, no? hanggang do'n sa lower area, puro smooth muscles na lang 'yan. We have the stomach. So, temporarily storage of food lang 'yon, and then it will be digested mechanically and chemically by the use of acids at saka enzymes. And of course, may contraction diyan para meron kang proper mixing of uh, food material. And of course, 'di ba may tinatawag tayong ulcer sa tiyan? Hindi 'yun ang hindi tawag dito, hindi gutom or nalipasan ng gutom yung cause nun, pero ang nagko-cause nun ay bacteria na merong genus na Heliobacter. So, 'pag ang pagkain mo ay contaminated ng ganitong food, ng ganitong bacteria, of course, may tendency na magkaroon ng ulcer. We have the secretion of intrinsic factors to produce by the stomach helps with the proper absorption of vitamin B12 and of course to store food stems from its compliance and ability to change size. So the stomach it's a very stretchable organ and it's able to store temporarily the food, no? And then of course we have uh, yung pagiging stretchable niyan, it's due to these muscular dimensions. So it has three muscular layers. We have the inner oblique layer, the middle circular layer, and then this one, the external longitudinal layer. So meron diyang contraction and relaxation to assist the mixing and churning activities essential in the formation of chyme. When we talk about chyme, yan yung parang tinunaw na pagkain. So, the chemical breakdown may be done by these gastric glands which produces um, gastric juices, no? So, ang laman nitong gastric glands, usually, composed siya ng parietal cells, chief cells, G cells, foveolar cells, and the mucous neck cells. Yung parietal cells, more on intrinsic factors yan and then the hydrochloric acid. Ang hydrochloric acid po ay meron lang siyang pH 1, around 1 to 2, no? And then yung intrinsic factor, for the absorption naman siya ng vitamin B12. So, ang purpose ng intrinsic factor is magpo-form siya ng attachment dito kay B12 para ma-absorb siya properly ng ileum of the small intestine. Ito yung hydrochloric acid, no? So, it is produces by the parietal cells. And then, we have the pH 1.5 to 2. So, I already discussed to you that the stomach is composed of simple columnar epithelium kaya hindi po siya mabilis masira even though na napakababa ng pH level na nito. With this masyadong mataas yung acidity, no? Ang mangyayari, it ables to destroy the microorganisms ingested with food. Ang microorganisms kasi natin, meron tayong good at saka bad. Usually, ang kayang sirain lang ng hydrochloric acid ay mga bad bacteria. So, kunwari, ito yung bacteria, no? With hydrochloric acid, ang mangyayari, sisirain yan yung cell membrane. Once kasi nasira yung cell membrane, hindi na siya mag-function. I mean, isa siyang, yun kasi yung parang protective layer niyan. So, pag nasira na yun, wala na talaga. And then, yung good bacteria natin, yung mga probiotics, no? Lactobacillus, bifidobacteria, mga ganon. And usually, may resistance yan against the acid. Kapag po ang bad bacteria ay na-resist niya or masyadong palaban para dito sa hydrochloric acid, at kapag napunta yan sa may intestine, of course, yan siya, dadami dun sa bituka. So, magko-cause siya ng diarrhea. Ang worst doon 'pag ang bacteria ay masyadong matapang, puwedeng pumasok doon sa layer ng bituka. Kung ito yung layer ng bituka natin, may mga cells diyan, and then 'pag meron ditong bacteria 'no, 'pag 'yan ay pumasok dito, magko-cause siya ng bleeding. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na, bloody diarrhea. Next is it denatures proteins, and breaks down plant cell walls. And then essential for the activation and function of pepsin. Ang pepsin ay isang enzyme that can digest the protein. So ito 'no, sa plant cell walls bine-breakdown lang. So since ang plants ay rich in fiber, hindi yan totally mada-digest. So, ang mangyayari yung fibers ay magiging tagalinis ng bituka mo. So yun yung, good benefit ng pagkain usually ng mga leafy vegetables or ano, mga ma-fiber na pagkain. We have the pepsinogen. So, mayroon tayong tinatawag na zymogen. So, enzyme 'to that is produced by the chief cells. So, eto yun 'no, may pathway pa siya. It is activated at pH between 1.5 to 2 to become pepsin. And then dito sa pepsin, protein digesting enzyme yan, and it is foveolar cells and mucous neck cells produce the mucus. So with this mucus, for protection from acidic corrosion, we have the G cells, nasa babang layer. Saan na yun? Eto, no? And then we have the gastrin. So, ito yung pinoproduce ng G cells. And then, pupunta siya dito sa parietal cells and G cells para may stimulation lang na mag-produce ang parietal cells ng hydrochloric acid. Tapos, ito namang chief cells ay ano, pepsinogen, and then it will convert into pepsin. Itong D cells, kasama siya doon sa tiyan mismo 'no, nasa may pyloric section or nasa, bandang loob. So ito kasi ay naandun sa may ano, abundant within the pyloric section. So it's just the same, nasa loob siya nung mismong, tiyan, yung parang bag. So ito naman, it produces the somatostatin for the inhibition of this, gastrin. So, 'pag wala na namang kailangang tunawin na karne or any food, of course, activated itong somatostatin natin. Ito ang small intestine class. So, may tatlong part yan. We have the duodenum, yung mukhang letter C, no? And then we have the jejunum, yung color green. So, sa may bandang right side yan. And then, dito sa may bandang lower part ay tinatawag na ileum. So, class 'pag ang tao ay mahilig sa leafy vegetables or sa mga healthy foods rich in fiber, malinis lagi yaang bituka, and of course with the probiotics food, maraming good bacteria na andiyan to aid the proper digestion of food. Kapag naman kasi ang tao ay unhealthy food ng kinakain 'no, especially yung mga isaw. So, 'pag nagluto kasi ng isaw may mga itim-itim yon, it can cause cancer. So, may ano ako dati, high school classmate, mahilig siyang kumain ng isaw 'no. College student lang siya nun, and then, yung nag-cause yun ng colon cancer kung saan nagkaroon ng maraming bukol-bukol yung kanyang, bituka. Na-surgery naman yun, but of course, kumakalat kasi talaga ang ano, ang cancer cells. So, wala namang treatment for that until now. So, ayun, nag-cause yun ng death niya. We have the ito, where digestion takes place and has a minor absorptive property. Ito 90% lang yung food absorption niya. And then ito yung tatlong segments, duodenum, jejunum at saka ileum. The duodenum, it receives the chyme or yung na-digest na-digest na no na food from the stomach. And then dito may katabi siyang pancreas para mag-release ng um, hormones or enzymes. And then kapag may fatty foods naman na nakasama dun sa pagkain, no, activated na yung liver na mag-produce ng bile juice para ma-emulsify yung fats dito. And then we have the jejunum, so where the bulk of chemical digestion and absorption occur. And then we have the ileum, it has digestion and absorption functions. So, last segment siya ng small intestine. Ito yon yung color yellow. And then, before siya pumunta dito sa large intestine, no, mayroon tayong tinatawag na ileocecal valve. Yan ay yung sphincter. Ito yung class, which controls the flow of material from the ileum to the cecum of the large intestine. And then dun sa bituka natin, kahit small intestine pa yan or large, meron tayong tinatawag na villi. Pero mas marami ang villi na to sa small intestine. Meron kang villi and of course, meron tinatawag na microvilli. So, yan po ay for the absorption of nutrients. Asan na yun? Ayan. So, etong villi also increases the surface area for optimal absorption. And then, sa bituka kasi natin, maraming capillaries. Bakit capillaries? Mga maliliit na ugat na magkakaroon ka ng gas exchange and of course, nutrients exchange. And then carry absorbed nutrients to the hepatic portal circulation dito sa may liver, no? And then vast quantity of lymphatic capillaries called lacteals aid in chylomicron transportation to the venous circulation. We have several hormones. Ito yung gastrin kanina, no? So, produced by the G cells. So, yung G cells na pinakita kanina na nag-produce ng gastrin ay in-stimulate niya si parietal cells at saka yung yung isang cell, 'di ba? To produce hydrochloric acid. And then we have the CKK. Ito naman ay napoproduce by the I cells in the upper small intestine. And then we have the secretin for the response to decrease upper intestine pH. We have the gastric inhibitory peptide in response to fat, amino acids, and glucose. We have the proglucagon. So it just produced by the L cells and will respond to glucose and fat. This is somatostatin. Pinakita naman kanina na inhibitor siya nitong gastrin. We have the vasoactive intestinal polypeptide. So in response to distension yan. And then we have the motilin. So it is produced by the M cells in the upper small intestine. So we have also several enzymes. We have the lipase, the peptidase. Itong lipase for fats, na parang hinango lang yan with the word lipids and the ase na enzyme. For fats digestion, we have the peptidase for peptide breakdown, for the sucrase for sucrose breakdown, the maltase maltose breakdown, the lactase lactose breakdown, and of course we have the Brunner glands. It just neutralizes the acid because it produces bicarbonate. Ito class ang liver. So, with the proper amount of food, maayos yung kanyang function. Pag too much ang food mo, ma-overwhelm yan at pwedeng masira. It is also known as the largest internal organ. And of course, kaya niya mag-regenerate as long as kakaunti lang yung part na masisira. We have the largest gland in the human body. And then, aside kanina dun sa nasabi ko, ay hindi, ito din pala yan. So, bile production, dito ini-store sa gallbladder yung bile. So, lalabas lang yan if the person eats fatty foods. And then we have contraction ng gallbladder para ma-release yung bile into the duodenum or small intestine. So, ano lang yan, active lang yung bile production sa fatty foods. So, we have the pancreas. So, wait lang. Additional information lang dito, no? Pag masyadong fatty food ang kinakain ng tao, of course, meron tayong tinatawag na gallstones. So, ito yung magiging effect nun. Magbubuo-buo yung mga chemicals dito, and then of course, kailangan niyang tanggalin. So, yung pancreas, okay. It is also known as the exocrine gland since naglalabas siya ng fluid. May multiple enzyme precursors and enzymes dyan. We have the trypsinogen, the chymotrypsinogen, and the procarboxypeptidase. So, these are all activated by the enteropeptidase in the small intestine. So, other enzymes, we have the active alpha amylase, lipases, and the colipase. So, all of these acts on triglycerides, mga carbohydrates with fats, no? And also, this one, the phospholipids. And other several enzymes, the ribonuclease, it breaks down the ribonucleic acids. We have the DNA and the RNA, no? And then we have the elastase, and then the collagenase. So, it breaks down the collagen. The other is just to break down the elastic fiber. And then, we have the large intestine. So, dito sa picture, no? Ay, wala. Wait lang. Mamaya na lang. So, dun sa large intestine, meron tayong ascending, yung pataas. And then, we have the transverse and the descending colon. And then right after, we have the sigmoid colon, yung parang last part na ng small intestine before mo ma-release siya. Duman siya dun sa rectum and saka anus para ma-release. So, it has 6 feet long and ina-absorb lang niya yung water at saka electrolytes. Example ng electrolytes natin dito ay yung mga potassium tsaka sodium, no? And then, meron din diyang microorganisms which are beneficial. So, it helps also to digest palalo yung mga food material before releasing. So, mostly vitamin K, it produced and absorbed in the large intestine since connected siya dito sa electrolytes class. And then we have the peristaltic movement. Kagaya lang din sa esophagus, yung parang involuntary movement. So, dito naman, it just moves the feces into the rectum. So, sa rectum, may stretch receptors dyan. which signal for the defecation process na yung parang ilalabas ng mga yung nakakaramdam na yung term. Which includes a reflexive relaxation of internal anal sphincter, smooth muscle, and conscious relaxation of the external anal sphincter skeletal muscle. Uh, Here's my references, class. Do you have any question?